We had Miami playing against Florida. Final score was 26-7, but it felt even more lopsided.
But
The
before you
herd.
get started, Aaron, before you get
Mhm.
started, this was our it was they weren't an underdog, but this was our bet of the week. We did
So,
Miami minus 7.5, and they won by 19. So we're
what,
4-1. We're
I
four
was
and
about to
one.
say, what's our record? We're 4-1 now,
Yeah, we're
guys.
4-1. We're making
All
money
I'm
over
saying
here.
is
Imaginary money, but yeah.
trust first and short. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Hurricanes, they covered the spread. They were pretty dominant. The score didn't show exactly how dominant they were. They held Florida's offense to a total of 141 yards. That's their lowest, offensive output performance since 1999. That's insane.
Yeah.
Um, they were even worse on third down conversions. They went a miserable like over 13. Simply put, the Gators couldn't move the ball, and Miami's defense lived up to their ranking and proved that they're the real deal. Um, on the offensive side of the ball, so while Miami's offense wasn't at its best or spectacular, their running game was the key. Um, the Florida defense was wore down. They were on the field for an exhausting 36 minutes and 30 seconds, so more than half of the game. Running backs Mark Fletcher Jr. and Shamar Brown, they combined for 196 yards and all three of Miami touchdowns, two of which came in the fourth quarter. So it was a physical, methodical beatdown that sealed the game for them in the fourth quarter. Um, you know, Florida had some glimmers of hope and shine, but ultimately they blew it, right? They had a chance in the third quarter after a long touchdown drive that made it 13-7. And their defense intercepted Miami quarterback Carson Beck, which gave them the ball midfield with all the momentum, but they couldn't capitalize, right? They
Mm.
kept stalling out, kept turning over the ball on downs, and never got close to the lead again. Uh, the sequence was a microscopic of Florida's season, pretty much. A few good plays followed by critical failures. Yeah, so it's just the theme over and over again. Ultimately, this game was hyped up to be a huge rivalry clash. They had game day in attendance there, but it ended up being a one sided affair. Um, with no rescheduled games in the foreseeable future.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Miami gets bragging rights for a long time, and they show that they're on a different level than Florida right now. Not just in talent, but in execution and mental toughness. The Hurricanes, they're building something special, while the Gators are still trying to find their footing.
Yeah. I know
Mm.
we talked about the Carson Beck interception. I will say, like, it was raining a lot of that game, so I was just looking up the stats while you were talking. Uh, Miami, they rushed the ball 44 times. They only passed 30.
Mm-hmm.
So about, yeah, 50% more leaning on the rushing side. Similar situation for Florida. They were rushing the ball more. So I could see why, Carson Beck could be a little bit iffy on the passing. I know he threw the interception, which, for us Georgia fans, we're like, oh, oh, there he goes again. But no, I but I thought he played a good game. Yeah. What any final thoughts on that one?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure, sure. So, like you said, there was definitely some other factors, but we kind of saw Carson Beck come back down to earth a little bit. After his first three games were just, spectacular.
Yeah.
He's still well on his way. Still has a chance to be a Heisman contender. Um, for DJ Lagway, the other quarterback for Florida. For me right now, it doesn't matter if this guy was a guy that meant to have real potential this year or not. I think it's fair to say that his confidence has really been shot this year. He finished the game with 61 total passing yards, and right now he currently sits at 6 interceptions and 5 touchdowns in the season. So he has more
Mm,
interceptions than touchdowns. That's pretty
yeah.
crazy. Um, Billy Napier, his seat is getting scolding hot. Florida is now off to the worst start since they've um, played since 1986 at 1-3. Their offensive struggles under Billy Napier, again, they're the recurring theme, and this game was just an absolute low point. To get shut down like that, and to be so inept on third downs, it raises serious questions about the coaching staff's ability to develop offensive talents and also make those in-game, adjustments. So the heat is on for Napier. Miami's defense, they show that they can compete at a national championship caliber. And, they just continue to prove that they're a team that's well on their way to being a college football playoff contender, right?
Yeah.
Um, my last take for Florida. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, the defense on Miami side, we've talked about Ruben Bain Jr. First of all, what an NFL name already. Like, he's going to be Ruben Bain Jr. He's gonna do great in the NFL. But they were also showing him next to Akeem Mesidor. Those are the two defensive ends, I believe. They're, they that's a good tandem right there.
Mm,
For any defensive line, you just don't know which side the pressure is going to come from, and they cause so much disruption. So that was, I understand Florida's offensive line is what it is, but it was nice seeing, that kind of duo get after it.
yeah, no, that's fair. And then speaking on Florida, moving on to what the rest of their schedule looks like, they have to deal with the rest of the year basically going through the gauntlet, right? You got Texas, you got Texas A&M, you have Mississippi State, who's undefeated right now.
Mm.
You got Georgia, Kentucky, who I mean, they're still a team that's competitive in SEC. You got
It's
Ole
at
Miss
Kentucky. It's at Kentucky.
at
So that's
Kentucky,
not a
right?
that's not a give me. Yeah.
That's not a gimme. And then you have to go to Ole Miss. Then you play Tennessee and Florida State for your last two games.
They might not win another game this year.
Yeah, they might not. That's the scary thing about all this. So,
I would say the
mm,
scary thing is Scott Strickland, the athletic director at Florida, might keep Billy Napier. That's the scary part.
mm,
As a Florida fan, I mean.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, I mean, it feels like the morale's at an all time low, and you're in the worst part of your schedule. So like, you're in for a long ride, Florida fans, and unless they find a way to compete and still battle,
Yeah.
it's gonna look rough.